It's your boy Charles Younger here, and it is Maryland Live at the Voice of College Football on this awesome Friday afternoon, September 26th. It is the 26th of September. This year is flying by. And I am joined by the OG, the Professor G, Mark Gray. He's in the
What is the
house.
deal, folks? Welcome to the land of 4-0. How about
How,
that?
how about that 4-0? And by the way, I want to bring this up. I've been talking about this all season. Preseason, Maryland was predicted to have Vegas odds were 4.5 wins on the season. Now, there's no way they're going to go winless the rest of the season. So, if you took the over, that was a sure shot.
Yeah, that was the play coming in. I will say this, man. I am pleased, honored, and privileged. And I've been to big events. I've done a lot of them, World Series, Super Bowl,
Mhm.
NBA All Star Game, Final Four. But I'm just honored to be a part of the Malik Washington experience. Say it with me, people. Smell the flavor. You know what that is? It's called success. And that dude, and I'm not gonna say he's single-handed because there's another dude whose last name begins with W, and that will be Daniel Wingate. Unfortunately, you're not as sexy as a quarterback, right? And
Mhm.
so you start looking at the numbers that Malik is putting up right now. He's box office in an area that has a guy that's playing at the pro level right now. I mean, he's the only person that's done more in a freshman season than Malik Washington. And the person I'm talking about is Jaden Daniels. And the numbers don't lie. I mean, there's never been a freshman, I think, in the Big Ten history to throw for 250 yards in 4 consecutive games. All right, a true freshman now. This time last year, he's thinking about, all right, let's get through the season so I can worry about my prom. Now I'm man, look, I'm just proud to be a part of the Malik Washington experience. 2025 style. We can only hope there is a 2026.
Well, he will be definitely around for 2026 because he is, he's got to be out of high school. What, 3 years is the range for you to go pro. So he'll be around 2026. Check out these numbers um, so far on the season: 80 for 134, uh, 8 touchdowns, only one pick, 1,038 yards, and he has a long of 62. And then he has a rushing touchdown as well, so he does have some wheels. So this kid has just been more than advertised in his first 4 games of the season.
He's ridiculous. Okay? I
Mhm.
mean, keep him healthy and they can make a run at least the Big Ten championship game. I'm a believer now, because it wasn't so much that they beat Wisconsin. It was how they beat Wisconsin. Huh.
Mhm.
Okay, when those young men woke up Sunday morning, they knew they had gotten whipped by a team that had been their whipping boy, if you will.
Mhm.
And this is the first time because the real rivalries in the conference start even before you get to the level of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State to a lesser degree. But there's certain games that if you Maryland, you gotta have pelts that you gotta finally pick up to validate how you're moving along in the you know conference world that you're playing in. And what we saw was Maryland smacked around Wisconsin in a way that said, okay, this is some get back. It'll be interesting to see next week how they handle Washington because Washington is going to have similar type athletes to them, and they're going to have a lot of speed. Washington does have some speed, but it's a winnable game, right? Um, it it's a it I'm anxious to see how they handle that because now they're under a microscope, and I don't think there are too many secrets. You kind of learn about what a team does in the first conference game, and that they got out early was big. But you just wonder with the week off and what kind of tweaks to the game plan that we've seen. Because the first three games, Chuck, I don't know how you saw it, and we talked about it. It was pregame, it was preseason, right?
Hmm.
So you were dealing with inferior opponents, but you were able to win and basically handle your business. Um, it's one thing to win, but the way they handled their business in Madison uh, has raised the bar, and I think it should have. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, walking into the game, they were 10 and up to 10.5 point dogs and
Mm.
winning 27-10. Once again, that was a sure shot right
Yeah, it
there.
was.
And
You know,
I think I called it outright that they would win outright and cover and everything. So they did not get the over, unfortunately. They only scored 37 collective between two. But that's because Wisconsin's fault
right?
that they didn't get the over.
What Johnson could not figure out, Daniel Wingate.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, you got W's on either side of the football. That means you're going to win. And Wingate is to the defense what Washington is to the offense. They are. It's funny. This team to make its run in this Big Ten regular season is going to be driven by two freshmen, and we've seen dynamic freshmen in college football kind of take over from one side of the ball and will a team to the next level sooner than later.
Well,
Now you got,
Wingate's a junior though.
huh?
Wingate's a true junior though. This is his third year.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, they've electrified the area that they're from,
Hmm.
and that's a big um that to me the fact that the farther they run, the better the recruiting in the state goes. And when those players start staying at home and realizing that um, it's safer when you're not in the sticks,
Hmm.
and this is an interesting moment in time in the history of the football program at Maryland, bro. It really is. I mean, you sense something building, and I don't think it's near where we get to the crescendo yet,
Hmm.
but it's building, and we saw those steps last week.
But there are some freshmen on that defense who are bringing it. You have Zahir Mathis. You have uh, Sidney Stewart. Both guys who are Carlton Smith. All three of these guys are very important into this defense that has been probably one of the best in the country. You said earlier it was against the inferior talent to start the season off, and Wisconsin was their first true test. However, they did not let the inferior talent compete on a level to make people question how good this defense is. They shut everything down, and with the speed from sideline to sideline with Wingate, Stewart, and you have some older gentlemen like Cam Rice, who's a transfer in as well. It's a good mixture on defense of young talent and senior leadership. Jalen Husky in the back end, the safety, who's a senior leader. So moving forward, this I think Washington is going to be. We thought that Wisconsin was going to be your first test. It wasn't. Washington is going to be that first true test, and Washington coming in is obliterating talent. I mean, scoring something around 56 points a game in their first few games. So that's going to make test this defense to its fullest extent. Can they keep up with the speed? We've seen Washington in the past few years, going back to with Michael Penix Jr. and those receivers, Rome Dunier, et cetera, who can spread the field, run up and down the field, basically run you ragged and basically beat you with speed versus power. This is going to
Yeah,
be that test. Like, do they have the gas in the tank? Do they have the cardio? Do they have the way to keep up with all these guys who are say Washington, who these West Coast teams who emphasize the speed over power and on the football field?
absolutely. But I will say this: unlike the past few seasons, I think when it comes to foot speed, Maryland's going to match up with just about anybody right now. And I know that's a bold statement when you consider how, you know, Washington has traditionally recruited Southern California really well. And there's a lot
Mhm.
of fast athletes in Southern California. I'm not going to say they're as athletic as the guys in Florida, shall we say, but it's pretty comparable. So they're going to have athletes. Um, I love the way everybody focuses on their offense, but their defense is fast and physical, also, man. So we're gonna learn a lot. But again, uh, this is the baby taking one giant step at Wisconsin. You go back to back with Wisconsin. I'm thinking you now suddenly get into the top 25.
Mhm.
I gotta believe that, if not top 20. I mean, if you can put Wisconsin and Washington back to back with the star power that you have in Malik Washington. Because if the season holds true to form, he's going to pass for at least 250 yards. He's not going to turn the football over, and he's going to probably have between one and two touchdown passes. So you probably would set the line at 1.5 if you
Mhm.
really wanted to get some money in on it. But yeah, to me, it's you know another defining moment, and I really can't wait till next week when we get a chance to see how it plays out.
Yeah, once we get to next week, we get a little closer to seeing because Washington does play. Who they play somebody this week? The schedule escapes me right now, but they might be coming in what 5-0, 4-0, 5-0 against us
Hmm.
4-0. I think Washington has not played a Big Ten game yet. They are still play. They finished their preseason a non-conference schedule. As I'm looking at the standings right now, um, so this is going to be probably Washington's second conference challenge, and Maryland's. And I don't know if they're not released the time of day this game's be played, but it could possibly be moved to a primetime slot, which kind of
Actually, it's a 3:30 game. You
oh, it
talking
is a
about
3:30.
yeah, it's a 3:30 game in College Park, and it's on the Big Ten Network.
Oh, perfect. That means we can all take the afternoon off and go down there to. That's right. It is 3:30 family weekend with
Hmm.
so it should be a good crowd there with the parents coming down to see their kids at school and parents be in the stands watching the boys play. So it's going to be interesting matchup. But I want to go back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier about the two star athletes on this team. We started off talking about Malik Washington, who we say is box office. Quarterbacks sell tickets, but the leader on defense, the guy, like I said, who's going to be probably called upon greatly in the Washington game, that's Daniel Wingate, who, like I said, is going to be the next great Maryland linebacker. If you look at the history of linebackers who played in Maryland called the NFL, there's guys names like DeQuell Jackson, E.J. Henderson, Sean Marion, some I would say game-changing talent on the defensive side. People forget that defense wins championships. Quarterbacks, offense sells tickets, but defense wins you championships. So,
That's it. Get you to a better bowl game than the mayonnaise bowl. Not that there's anything wrong with mayonnaise. Um,
uh,
Still, you're right, but the I think the defense is schemed enough. I don't think we've really seen them peak yet. Now, it's funny when you look at the way they totally dominated Wisconsin's offensive front. I mean, you used to seeing Maryland go and get mauled by the biggins, as Keith Jackson used to say,
mm-hmm,
the biggins up front. And for
mm-hmm,
those of y'all who don't know the name Keith Jackson, I'm not talking about the former Eagles tight end. I'm talking about the legendary broadcaster on ABC. He was the voice of college football. That being said, um, Maryland's biggins whipped Wisconsin's biggins, and
mm-hmm,
there was no doubt, and that impresses me. Now I know there's a lot of heat on Luke Fickle up there for underachieving to this point, but I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't know what happened in the first couple of weeks of the season with Wisconsin.
mm-hmm,
Um, Other than the fact that I think they got it put to them, I guess, by Alabama, but
mm-hmm.
other what I saw Maryland do was just kind of like a pickup on that, and it seems like the kids, at least now, have a greater understanding of what Ted Monachino wants them to do defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Defense. He spoon fed us and the team a rather vanilla defensive plan in the preseason portion of the regular season, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's turning them loose. And the defense has embraced that notion. Well, if you turn them and loose, I'm going to go out there and hunt. And they picked up some pelts last week, my friend. And it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up with Washington's speed. But I think physically and athletically, Maryland is right there with anybody. It's a tangibles that's going to decide, the game as most times it does.
Yeah, as you speaking of Ted Monachino, if you look at how he's built his defensive front seven, you have Dylan Fontes at 292 at end. You have Evan Thomas 328 in the middle. You have Cam Rice at the other end at 300. Four linebackers who are all 6'3" to 6'4" range, 220 to 250 pounds. Who can all fly across the field. That reminds me very much of that Ravens defense that you had your Ray Lewis's, you had your Terrell Suggs, etc. Your Peter Bulwares,
Art Scott,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah, Bart Scott, guys who you get your big boys up front
right,
who control the line, and you let your linebackers go make plays.
right.
And
They all
what
hunt.
he's
Yes,
yes, and I'm not saying they're in the same talent level, but I'm saying the scheme level. What he's doing, you have your Jalen Husky is going to be your Ed Reed type player in the backfield who's going to patrol and then lay the hit down when the receiver comes to the middle. You know, you have
and
another
Wingate is and Wingate is
Wingate is
the
your
Ray Lewis. You're right.
yeah, he's your Rayless. He actually he's more of a Will than he's the Mike. They have according to the Ross, they have Trey Reddick listed at the Mike, middle linebacker for those who are football lingo educated. But both those guys who are going to be your, I think, Wingate Junior, Reddick as sophomore, they're going to be here for next year. They're going to be making play after play after play after play, going sideline to sideline, and then Sidney Stewart, who is, I think he leads the Big Ten in pressures, and I think he's top five in top in the sacks. Coming off the edge, he is your, what was that? Your Peter Bulware, your
Yeah,
your
Jamie Sharper type.
yeah, your Suggs, your guy who's just going to
Yeah.
get after the quarterback. So I can see, like, if these guys can grow and work on that chemistry and know, like, we've heard them in press conference about how they have this bond and the chemistry in the locker room about how they want to play defense, and they say Coach Ted gets in on them and tells them, hey, they love playing for this guy. So if they combine, all it combines together, and like I said, just you got to work on that. Now, the key thing is going to be that talent level, like I said, with Washington coming in with all that speed. Can they be able to keep up with the speed of Washington?
Well, that's why this is a good bye week.
Mm-hmm.
You do get an extra chance to look at their tape.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be looking at some stuff that you went into your break doing really well. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where, at least to me, the combo of locks and pep and a week off with an opportunity to scout Washington and see how they match up against that speed. I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
this is a big advantage for Maryland. This is a game where everything almost seems too perfect. You're at home, you're off a bye week, you're undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a bruising matchup coming up this weekend. I mean, Ducks are in a row
Mm-hmm.
uh, for something special next weekend in College Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true because they're Washington is playing the number one team and the reigning and defending college football champions, Ohio State, who, let's be honest, I'm kind of glad they're not on our schedule this year because they look pretty unbeatable. But how important is it the fact that Washington is playing on this week and we have a bye week, so we get to study what they do against the best team in the nation? How important is it that as an aspect when it comes to in two
Man,
weeks
you,
from when
you
we play
can't.
them?
Hey, look, coaches won't use this as an excuse, but the fact that Maryland's off and at home with Washington having to come to Columbus, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then go back to Seattle, and then come back to you
No, I'm
know.
sorry. No, they're hosting Ohio State. Excuse
Oh,
me.
they
They're
are? Well,
hosting.
then
Yeah.
that mitigates it just a little bit because of the traffic. I mean, the travel. All
Hmm.
right.
Going
And with
west to
Ohio
east versus
State,
east to west is a little different.
it is. It is. But
Time travel.
right, right. Now, you don't know how Washington is going to handle that time thing, but it's still going to be a 12:30 in the afternoon kickoff time by their body clock, right?
Hmm.
So, it's going to be interesting to see with the week off what Maryland finds out about them, and then tweaks. What tweaks do they make defensively? But when it
Hmm.
comes to foot speed right now, which always had been the issue with Maryland, it was funny. The West Coast schools, when they came into the conference, the Terps have always had problems keeping up with the fast players,
Hmm.
and then they would get bludgeoned by the Iowas. I mean, I'm like, I don't know what Maryland did to Kirk Ferentz. Heck, he was on. Wasn't he on one of Brian Billick's coaching staffs at
Hmm.
the Ravens? I'm like, dude, but they'd out physical Maryland. Illinois would out physical them. We're not gonna even talk about the um the bludgeoning that went on against Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes. That was just a talent level difference. You're not
yeah,
gonna. That was just you're not gonna
right.
out talent them. That's more of a. That's not even coaching. That's just not even scheme. That's just
No, you know what it
you're out.
was?
Mm-hmm.
Maryland had to get Big Ten football players after coming from the ACC. And
Mm-hmm.
Lamont George is my guy, and he
Mm-hmm.
and he misses the ACC, and that's all well and good. But
Mm-hmm.
dude, come on, man. I mean, when it comes to physical, this is the big boy conference. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this and the SEC, and the SEC is blended. And if you look at the dynamics of what Mike Loxley is trying to do, you start seeing the elements of what he learned being around Nick Saban. You know, almost like everything from the business standpoint to the way that he builds his team. So like I said, we're in the early stages of this thing, but I will make a bold prediction that if Malik Washington balls out and if Washington leads Maryland to a victory over Washington, then you'll
Mm-hmm.
see them in the top 25 and they become box office. Okay. We know we've seen it develop. This is another, you know, Maryland goes what 5-0, or it's going to be crazy going into October. I mean,
And
I
then that'll pay off
don't
that
have any
4.5 win
baseball.
total.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, you don't have any baseball to worry about in the area.
Nope.
You got a pro football team in Baltimore is really underachieving and is kind
Mm-hmm.
of on life support at this point in the season. And then on the other end of the parkway, you got the team with Jaden Daniels, and he's out. So I mean, you want to talk about a perfect moment in time? This could be the perfect storm on and off the field for Maryland right now.
Mm-hmm.
And elite programs do come with hype. All right, the personality of your coach, i.e., Coach Prime. Um, can't use Bruce Pearl anymore.
Good
um,
riddance.
anyway, you
Nepo
just can't.
baby's higher, but I
Yeah,
digress.
yeah. But
TV got him
you
bad.
got
Nepo did some good.
yeah, but you got to have star power, star quality, and Maryland has star quality. You will see. Okay, if Maryland wins next Saturday, a rise of national attention. I'm thinking that game day may have to come up and do a feature story on them and all that kind of stuff. I'm serious. We are at the precipice of something big, and one more dub changes, I think, the whole look of the expectations for the regular season. And I'm quite sure that Mike Loxley enjoys that kind of opportunity. This is what he
Mm-hmm.
built this team for. And when they open up the check and let him bring the successful former NFL assistants into the staff, they've doubled down on trying to be a competitor. And then with you know, Mr. Smith at the top of the food chain in the athletic department, he didn't come down here to lose.
Mm-mm.
So it's an interesting moment in time right now if you're a Turk football fan.
Yeah. And as a alumni of the school who's, kind of excited, about this how this program's going to turn around. I wish the student body would get a little more interested too. I mean, they've been. I think they said Coach Lockie said they had what 12,000 in the student section, which is like the most he's had since he's been there.
Mhm.
But there are some seats in the upper decks of nosebleeds
Yes,
that
there are.
can use some attention, and hopefully playing a big time team that competed for the national championship. What 2 years ago? Is it 2 years ago? Competed for the national championship might bring some butts in the seats and help help that home field advantage because you don't want the visiting team to take over your stadium.
And it's funny that you mentioned it because we're on the opposite side from that side of the field that you're talking about in the press
Hmm.
area. And so when
Hmm.
you look over there, especially in the top part of the stadium, there's a lot of empty spots. And we're talking about one of the smallest stadiums in the Big Ten. It's
Hmm.
about 64, 65,000 you can get into Maryland.
Hmm.
Whereas, heck, you can get double that in Columbus and Ann Arbor.
Oh yeah.
And not to mention Happy Valley. All right. Now, again, stadiums don't necessarily win or lose games for you, but the fact that when you got a home crowd and a potentially undefeated team and there's still empty seats, it gives the challengers fan base an opportunity to purchase said tickets.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And
And then you can lose that well because I'm pretty sure when Penn State fan uh, takes a shorter road trip, they're here in droves, and
yeah, that's that's
who really
6 hour
wants to see
drive from
them?
Happy Valley to College
Yeah,
Park. It's not bad. And by the way, that one kid I saw sitting in the crowd who decided to go all the way up to the top and sit to the very last row, the very top.
I love
Like
them.
you, I was like, yeah, that's not me, man. I was like, that's my seat. I'm gonna sit here. I'm good. I ain't going those steps.
Now, college is about experience,
Yeah,
and he was
and
having an experience. Now we don't know
mhm.
what induced his experience, but we hope it was a profitable, wonderful experience for himself, and he didn't pick up any charges.
No, yeah, and he didn't injure himself going down those steps at the end of the game. But, um, but I want to still getting back to Daniel Wingate though, because we talk about this defense. Because the defense is going to be, it's going to have to make some plays in order to win this game against Washington. Because like I said, Washington is scoring 56 points a game. That might drop against Ohio State because Ohio State has one of the best defenses in the nation. But because wow, oh damn, they beat UC Davis 70-10. Wow, that's bad. And
I
then they
mean,
beat Washington State 59-24. So that's going to pad your scoring numbers a little bit. But you've seen Daniel Wingate going through the system in Maryland.
Daniel,
You said yeah. That's what's that say Daniel?
you said
Yeah.
David. I know
No,
you're just
my bad.
showing your age, dude.
Yeah. Daniel Wingate.
Uh huh.
Uh And this kid is, like I said, he's on the Butkus watch list for the season because he leads the conference in
Yes.
tackles. You look at his stat line across the board: 39 total tackles, one sack, three tackles for loss, an interception, and that interception led to a touchdown. So he had a pick six. This kid is showing skill set to be like that dude who's gonna be playing on Sundays for some team, your
Yeah.
favorite team, in a year or two. So what? And standing at 6'5", 230 pounds, he's the perfect frame of a linebacker too. So speed,
Yeah.
sideline to sideline. What is it about this kid? You know, like I said, you see him grow up in the system, grow up in the game, that you say makes him special as a linebacker for University of Maryland.
He's fast and he's got that twitch thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-sport player growing up. So, um, and he's been around great people, great coaches, comes from a great family, and I think that they were able to harness his athletic gifts, get him to the people that could groom him to be better, and had enough of a structure that
Mm-hmm.
allowed him to focus to be well, great, you know? And I think that he's got special gifts. Some things are just God given, his
Mm-hmm.
his speed is just tremendous. I mean, uh to watch a guy who is being coached by people who have, been in the meeting rooms with the Ray Lewises
Mm-hmm.
and you know, the top NFL defensive players, linebackers in particular. I mean, you talking about a tremendous athlete being groomed by a guy who's seen greatness at work. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, the sky's the limit, barring some kind of catastrophic injury. To your point, I'm thinking, um, man, in a couple years, maybe by the end of the season, you talking about somebody that's got to be top 15 pick. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll set the over under at 15 right now because you never know what's going to happen at the end of the season with you know, the quarterback is always at the top of the wish list and will get all the hype. Um, you'll have offensive players that kick in, but it'll be interesting to see how Wingate matches up because he's on the Buckets Award list, which is nothing to sneeze at either. So, like I said, we talk about it. Maryland's box office now. If you like college football, if you're from the area, or if you just a Terp apologist from years gone by, uh, this team is built to, believe it or not, I'm convinced that they're built to win now. I didn't want to believe
Yeah.
that until I saw the Wisconsin game, but I think they built to win now, Chuck. I'm trying to, maintain a certain semblance of objectivity here, but for this season, for this here and now, judged upon where they're at, I'm anxious to see if they can just get into the mix and be a ranked team. And if you don't make the top 25, I don't think they're talking about you in the room going down to the college football playoffs. And I think you want when they start meeting for what does it take 4 weeks, which is a great gig. Can I have a rant moment here, please?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Take it.
Why does it take like 4 consecutive weeks in like five-star hotels to figure out who's gonna be in the tournament, right? I mean, we're having high stakes negotiations, bro. With dudes in suits on the dime of the committee, eating the best of foods, staying in the finest of hotels to set up a tournament. Okay, we're not talking about running a conference. We're not talking about fixing NIL. We're talking about setting up a tournament.
Filling out
What?
brackets.
Really? And how many more well teams from various conferences are going to get in because it now is this where we use the quad one rules or is that the college basketball thing now? Because all these layers of these subjective analytics just blow me away. But you know what I'm beginning to notice? If you have star caliber players and you win enough games, they find a spot for you at least in the first round. And we gotta be
That's
mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? We got
mm,
it's almost like the Heisman Trophy thing. To some extent it becomes a popularity contest, but you also want the teams that are gonna bring you big ratings. Big
mm,
Ten and SEC are conferences that bring you big ratings. And if you get big ratings and you got a star caliber athlete and you're in the room they're talking about for 4 weeks on company dime,
mm.
you know, five-star hotels. It's a
Mich-
great thing, but if they're
Michelin
gonna be
restaurants.
exactly, explicit count. So if you don't want to eat the prime rib and
that that aged wagyu.
exactly, you may want to get
Mm.
out. We'll
Speaking of
see,
wagyu,
Chef
I'm
Chef
one.
Prudhomme.
I'm
That just
ex-
okay. But the
mm,
more to the story is when they get into the defense of why certain teams should be in the playoffs, you want to have an intangible that may make a tie, break a tie, since your program is not blue blood. All right. The blue bloods have a different conversation. But if you're an upstart, like say Indiana was last year, you had to have some reason you had to have big wins and star power just to get consideration to get in. And then we saw what they did. They actually won a game.
Hmm.
You know,
And
so
they are still rolling because the way
yeah.
they destroyed Illinois.
Oh,
Oh
they
my
they are
God.
mauling people right now. That's gonna be an
Mm.
interesting game, bro.
The
Oh yeah,
homecoming against Indiana. That's must see right there. I got to be
that
there
that,
for
that
that
is
game
must see. That's must see TV, bro. It really
because
is.
they are where Maryland wants to be.
They
Coming
are,
from being a basketball school, making that transition, which is
and
funny. They're not
they
like
did it in
they,
1 year. And the
yeah,
thing I like about Signetti is he came in and told people what was up and delivered. There was no humility to the way that Indiana came in with Signetti. He was like, I got my game plan. We know what we're doing. We're gonna implement it, and we're gonna win some games.
hey, you want
Okay,
that track record coming from James Madison because he took James Madison to the levels of like a North Dakota State in that level of football where they're constantly playing for the championship every year. I mean, well, something
but
said
you
about
know what? You
working
know
your
where
way up.
people sold him short is
Mm,
because of the conference that he had come from. He came
mm,
from the CAA. I guarantee if he had done what he had done in a MAC school,
mm,
say like Miami of Ohio or one of those Akron, Ohio,
mm.
he wouldn't have been that scrutinized. I
Well, the
guarantee you
difference
that.
is the MAC is still Division FBS, and the CA. Well, Jamie left the CA a few years back. They were in the Sun Belt the last few years, but they won the championships and the CAA. But they were beating North Dakota State,
Right.
in these championship games. So
And
like
the championship game.
the Alabama of
Right.
FCS. So
Right.
he Mickey Matthews to Sydney, and now Jamie is actually kind of doing a little bit of regression because they've lost some of that swagger from. But yeah, he even brought in some transfers from JMU to help that team build up. But I digress. That man is he's done a great job, and hopefully, like I said, Maryland is on that same trajectory of a few recruits here, a few recruits there, a win here, a win there. You know, next thing you know, we're getting some more 4 and 5 star recruits coming here who want to play in the DMV, and Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, we're coming for you.
Well, I mean that there are layers to this, but and
Mm,
they got. I think that when you look at the evolution of the program, right, and where they're trying to get to from where they were last week was a big step.
mm-hmm.
That was one
One small
giant
step
leap,
for one
yeah,
giant leap for
one
Turk
giant
Time.
step for credibility, and one
Yeah,
great big leap for the program.
yeah.
I mean, and babies. I don't know. To me, I wouldn't consider it a baby step. It was somewhat of a big step because
Mm,
Maryland's in the process right now, sort of exercising the demons from Big Ten seasons gone by, and I think one of the demons you had to exercise were bludgeonings in Madison. Madison had just been so unkind to Terp Nation.
yeah, getting that monkey off their back,
Yeah,
finally beating Wisconsin is
that yeah.
for fifth time's a chance. Fifth time is a charm.
Hey, well, what they say, nothing beats a failure but a try, and you keep on trying
Yeah.
until you finally get it right. Now, you hopefully you're building the momentum. Uh, and one thing I think here's another intangible that sort of works into Maryland's favor. Uh, it would be different if this was an upstart team, say, at a school that was in a college town, because all the
Mm,
players would be recognized
mm-hmm,
and treated a certain type of way. You're just a part of the community around here at Maryland, and you're not
mm,
bigger than the community, even when you're doing it big, like the 2 stars we talked about, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's kind of a good thing and a recruiting tool because you compare like a big market program like Maryland, where you also have professional football franchises on either side of them,
Mm-hmm.
they take fan base distractions and kind of pull away because it's pro centric areas. But what you got right now is they're in a spot where, depending on how this season plays out, um, they get to be one of those places that even if you on the other side of the country and you hadn't necessarily thought about them, you've seen them now. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is how they're running, and I think that's what's happening with Indiana. People saw last year the kind of football that Signetti brought to Bloomington, and
Mm-hmm.
they're gravitating to it. Um, they call, soccer the beautiful game, but when you're playing a beautiful game of offensive football, which is what I think we can say Maryland is building towards right now, not finesse, right? Where you're trying to outsmart people and, out scheme them. That's not necessarily where I'm going with that,
Mm-hmm.
but out executing and, beating them with physical talent is pretty much what we've seen through the first 4 games of this season. And I really am excited to watch it play out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, we have time to let this build, let this percolate, and hopefully it's not going to be the letdown that some people, you wait for something for so long and you finally have it. It's like, that wasn't that great. But I think it's going. I think Maryland fans might be pleasantly surprised when it comes to what they're going to bring out and put out on the field against Washington next Saturday. So, but since it's a bye week, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter show than normal. We don't have as much highlights and much content. The
Well,
press, the
we want to lobby. We want to
yeah,
lobby for all the fans for and in case they don't earn a spot in the playoffs. In case,
mm,
all right. So we're gonna give you that little vial with a, match
mm-hmm.
and a cigarette, and in case of emergency, break this.
Pretty glad, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna in case of emergency, we just want a warm weather bowl.
yes,
And if it's not gonna be in a warm weather locale, then it's got to be a fun cold place. Among them,
mm-hmm.
Nashville,
Mississippi
Memphis.
Bowl, yes.
you know,
Yes, I'll make that trip down to Memphis. Just go to some of
okay,
that Memphis
you know,
barbecue.
that's just one place. I mean, hey, Florida.
Mhm.
Now, and much rather go down South Florida than North Florida.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit
They
different in
want
Duval,
Duval. Or
because
what's
that's
the
where they
coach? The
play
coach
the. What is that? I forgot the game they played in Jacksonville, the Gator Bowl. That's
Gator
right.
Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the
Who's-
name of the stadium back in the day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get some good golfing down there at that time. You know, um,
But yeah, I think
Texas,
I say Texas might work. Yeah,
because you
everybody's
got the
big on
Alamo
Texas.
Bowl in San Antonio. You
Hmm.
have they got a bowl
Cotton
in Houston
Bowl.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cotton Bowl. Well, you got to probably be in the national championship quartet
Oh, that's true.
to get one of those bowls. Time was you could put Atlanta on there, go to the Peach Bowl, have a good time. Not anymore.
Nope, nope. Peach Bowl was always my favorite one back in the day. So we can go
I'm
to
we
let's
the
look at the press.
long suffering Maryland fan base
So we
would
got
like to have a warm weather bowl.
let's look at some
Everybody
of the bowl
harumph
games
for the
we have
governor.
here.
Harumph.
We have the Cricket Celebration Bowl and
Well, you can't
Mercedes-Benz
do the
Stadium.
celebration bowl because that's the HBCU bowl.
That's I'm sorry, you guys ACU Bowl. Excuse me. I'm looking through the list of bowl games here. The Staff DNA Cure Bowl came
Where's
from
that?
Orlando. We have the
That
68th.
probably used to be the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. They can't believe they changed the name from the Citrus Bowl.
Well, you know why they did? Because Florida Citrus probably stopped sponsoring the game.
That's true.
That's how it works. Because I
Then you
think it's
have
like
the
some kind of campus world bowl or something. Oh well, maybe they changed that too. Whatever.
here's one's not too bad. It's actually a short road trip for us. The Myrtle Beach Bowl and it's Conway, South Carolina. That might be not be too bad. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa, Florida, in Raymond James Stadium. Uh, Here's one we don't want to do, and that's the famous Idaho Potato Bowl
No,
in
no, no, no,
Boise.
no.
Not,
Not no, no, not Boise blue turf, cold, you know.
yeah,
Not that I'm
that's
hating on Boise. Boise is, from what I hear, a nice place, but um, I don't want to be there for a bowl game.
what about the Boca Raton Bowl in Florida? Yeah,
Ooh,
that
wow.
might be. Yeah, then we
Yeah,
have the New Orleans Bowl down there in New Orleans.
not a bad
This,
place to be. Not a
mm,
bad. I like it.
the yeah,
Can't get enough
this
of New Orleans.
yeah, get some of that Creole food, that Cajun
Cajun
food.
cuisine, yes.
Mm. Here's one that might be interesting. First of all, the name is hilarious. The Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, which is in
And,
Frisco,
and, and
Texas.
outside Dallas. That's
Yeah,
Frisco,
which is
Texas.
funny because that's where the FCS championship game was for a few years when I went to saw James Madison win their second national championship that year.
So did you
Uh,
like Fort Worth?
oh, it was fun. I had a blast down there. I mean, it's spread out, so the public transportation is not that great. But this is a few years back, so they might have changed it. So it's kind of hard to get around. You probably have to Uber everywhere. There's no like you can just hop on a bus, or whatever. Everything's so spread out. Like you got Dallas part here, Fort Worth over there, Frisco over there, Arlington over there. So you have to plan ahead. It's not just like you found a hotel and just stumble down to the stadium. What about the Hawaii Bowl? You willing to go all the way out?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you
Mm.
kidding me? I'm so all in with that. December 2? What?
Mm. Yeah. December in Hawaii is not a
Woo!
bad idea.
No,
Then
not at
we have
all.
They have another cold weather bowl game, the Game Above Sports Bowl. That's a terrible name at Ford Field. You're in Detroit, but it's pretty easy to get around at Detroit. Ford Field.
Well, I will say
Uh,
this. Maryland already plays one game in Detroit this year, and I
mhm.
think one game in Detroit is enough.
Ooh, shots fired at Detroit.
No, 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 no shots. I like Detroit,
Uh,
but
Not twice a year.
no, because dude, it's cold, man. It's just,
Yeah.
it's brutal. It's just, and I know you're sitting in a dome, but you got to freeze your, you know, self off just to get to the inside of beautiful Ford Field, which is a beautiful building.
Here's some couple other bowl games that are kind of throwing me off by the names. We have the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl in Yankee Stadium. We have the Wasabi Fenway Bowl in Fenway Park. So we got two baseball stadiums hosting college football bowl games.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it because normally baseball stadiums are smaller than football stadiums, and I like the intimacy of football played in that environment. But the Wasabi Bowl,
Wasabi.
wow! Really? I mean, that's got to be like one of those games for like a team on the East Coast who just can't make it to a bowl. So, I mean, I can't see Maryland's fan base being that thrilled to go to Boston because it's cold. It's not like you're
Yeah.
going up to New England for a trip to the vineyard in July.
Mm.
It's cold in
Not
Boston.
not enough chowder to keep you warm up there.
Really? I'm like, wow. But
But then you have the battle of chowders, of clam chowders. New England clam chowder versus Maryland clam chowder. Who brings it better?
well, you got to go to New England and crab chowder thing. Now, if you want
Mm,
to start talking about like crab-based delicacies, then
mm.
I'm all in to go after anybody in the nation. But when it comes to chowder,
Chowder.
that's the New England thing. You can't go wrong with that
Oh,
either, man. It's a different level. That
there's
stuff that you
so
get in the
many
can
bowl
in your
games.
supermarket is not how it goes down for real up there. I just
All right,
want to let everybody know that.
all right. Here's a quick question: which is worse, the mayonnaise bowl or the Pop Tarts bowl?
Oh, mayonnaise, by far. I mean, you know, if for no other reason than the optics, right?
Mm.
Let's just start there. Um, I mean, mayonnaise. I mean, Pop Tarts just so tasty, and I mean, a great snack. I mean, um,
Good cold or hot?
right? You know, there's a lot of issues that go with mayonnaise. First off, you gotta keep it in the refrigerator, number one, or it goes bad. Pop Tarts, they got pretty long shelf life. You can put them
Pop
in the closet and get with them in a minute, and they'll still be pretty good.
Pop Tarts and Twinkies. That's what we need. There's several bowl games in Texas. There's no one, the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl. I'm assuming that's probably going to be reserved to maybe a military school makes a bowl game because the name of
Yeah,
that
but where's that game in? Like,
Dallas Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas, which I have no clue where that is.
okay,
The the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. That's a long name for a bowl game.
well, what's it called? The Snoop Dogg Bowl?
The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice and Dr. Dre and Snoop.
I might want to go there.
And Tucson, make a trip
That
down to
sounds like
Tucson
a lot of fun, but you must be responsible.
and don't inhale. Uh, the
Special appearance by
Ensleta,
Wiz Khalifa.
The Ensleta, New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque. I knew you should say a left turn in Albuquerque. Uh, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. There's the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Tax Slayer. The Kinder Texas Bowl in Energy Stadium in Houston. The J Lab Birmingham Bowl.
Let's go back to the one in Houston because I grew up having a fantasy about going to the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl at the Astrodome in Houston. And we have disintegrated the memory of that game to what is this game called again?
It is called the Kinder Texas Bowl in the Energy Stadium in Houston.
And see, it's funny because if you drive all around Houston, you're Astro Bluebonnet Boulevard and all that, right? Like, can we get the Bluebonnet Bowl back? Please.
Does Bluebonnet have bowl money?
Well, they done. I think Bluebonnet is bigger than just because I don't even think they make Bluebonnet anymore. Have you seen Bluebonnet in the store?
Be honest with you, no.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you could bring this back with no copyright infringement. You know, I mean that's what I'm saying. And first things first, you got to put the corporate partner in on, but keep the integrity in the name. You know, hey, look, because the big games, the Rose Bowl as an example. You know, the sponsors name is never going to be ahead of the game.
Yes.
Why? Because the game is at large.
That's true.
You know, it's just like that. Same thing with the Cotton Bowl. You know, the name is
your Cotton Bowl. That be correct. The
I thought it was
Orange Bowl.
Yeah, and you know, Dr. Pepper. They don't have a bowl yet.
Dude, I don't see a Dr. Pepper.
Well, I guess they don't need one because they sponsor the entire college football playoff.
Speaking of the big boys, the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl.
See, for purposes of my personal intestinal tract, that's painful. All right, there's just nothing that's citrus and Cheez-Its.
Not a good combination.
Let's just say you don't want to be my roommate on that trip.
Here's one more for you that I might be down for: the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl because it's great.
It's in El Paso.
Yeah,
you got to figure El Paso is going to have great food and decent weather.
But you might have to worry about ice running around everywhere.
Well, you know, you just had to take the sunshine off my parade. It just had to rain on my parade. Wow.
And the one I am most interested in, if we don't get to one of the bigger brand bowls, like I said, we talked about earlier, the Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That is a bowl game I could see Maryland fans traveling to.
Yeah.
Nashville, it's like not far.
It's a pretty short flight.
Reasonable drive. You know, maybe hop on the bus or a train. I'll probably take the bus or a train and drive because that way you have to worry about driving. You know, hop on there. They get Wi-Fi on these buses now, these trains. Very, very comfortable. And then I know you probably don't want to do this one. That's the J Lab at Birmingham Bowl. You know, J Labs the had a headphone company. they are sponsoring that bowl game. They couldn't
I
get
mean,
Beats. They couldn't get Bose. They couldn't get Anchors. They couldn't get JBL. It's J Lab, like the your budget earbuds you
they
get from
should be
Target.
shouldn't real talk, shouldn't they be sponsoring the Snoop Dogg Bowl? I mean,
No, because that would be Beats. Because Dre is Beats.
you're right. That's right.
Yeah.
Dre is
So
beat.
or Raycon by Ray J. You know, one of those things. But these
We're
bowl
not gonna even
games,
go
by the
down that
way,
road.
these bowl games have some ridiculous names, ridiculous concepts. But hey, they're a bowl game. They bring money into the school,
And and
and
and that's fine. And we, as long suffering fan, would like to have our team play in a place that's warm and fun.
mhm,
Okay,
yes,
that's it. Warm
N-
and fun. All right, that's it.
nothing more north than where we already are.
Right. So to the pinstripe ball bowl fans and the
Wasabi bowl.
wasabi bowl fans. I'm gonna, how they have, what is it, bowl week?
hmm
I'll be watching those games during bowl week on a
My
computer,
couch.
smartphone,
Yeah.
tablet, however I get my college football at that time. I'll be watching it. I'd sit in the stands in a place that's warm. Although that
Raymond
Hawaii,
James Stadium has four bowl games being played in it. Looks like it appears they're
wow,
making some money down there in Florida.
because they
Because
got
let's see.
the what was it, the Hall of Fame Bowl that was once down there, right?
Yes, yeah, they have the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. That's one and the
What
19th.
do you call it? You said Gasparilla or Glorilla?
I wish it was the Glorilla Bowl. Ooh. But it's the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Yeah,
Gasparilla is
exactly.
like a drink.
Sarsaparilla.
Oh wow. What is
Gas.
Gasparilla then? It's like a
I'm
drink,
assuming.
soft drink for your car. I mean,
I have no clue, but it's a home mortgage company sponsoring, so who knows? So that's one bowl game at Raymond James Stadium, and then we have, I think I saw two more here. There is the Real Quest Bowl, wherever the heck that is, on New Year's Eve, and then there is, I could swear I saw three, maybe it's just the two, but yeah, Tampa's getting those bowl games.
and doesn't Orlando get one too? That the
Atlanta has
game,
two, I
the,
think.
that's the one that used to be known as the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. They have the Steph DNA Cure Bowl, which is in the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, and then they have the where did I just see it? The Pop Tarts Bowl in Orlando Stadium, and then they have
Pop Tarts
the
and orange juice.
and then they have Cheez-Its and Citrus Bowl in Orlando. So Orlando has three bowl games in the same stadium.
Hey, you got to make it work. Got to have a
You gotta
reason,
go.
Got to
I
get
mean,
people to
I've been to
travel to
Orlando
Florida.
before. That's the one city in Florida people don't want to go to because it's the middle. Outside Disney World, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do in Orlando?
Treasure Island,
Yeah,
Universal.
yeah.
You know,
The theme parks, yeah, but the beaches are on both ends. You know, Gulf Coast and Atlantic Coast.
yeah,
But
but they're eh, eh, uh, entertaining social establishments.
mm.
Should you desire to get out in those places like that,
Oh, I missed this one too. The
but
LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk. I'm not sure if that's the Gronkowski or is that the oh it is the Gronkowski, yeah, the LA Bowl. How's he gonna host his own bowl game?
he got
You know
some
what?
corporate partner to pick up the tab. What is
You know
he
what?
endorsing these days?
Everything.
He
That
may. How about this? Maybe it's sponsored by um, Navy Federal, so he could finally join.
that'd be that would have been a perfect one. The
I'm doing
military
your
bowl.
marketing work for y'all free of charge.
Yeah, if you do like the military bowl sponsored by Navy Federal, Gronk should have been a sponsor for it. But that's why we don't get paid the big bucks. And those guys on Park Avenue get paid billions to not think of something like that. So, but I digress. But we gotta wrap this up because it is getting that time of day where we have to go be productive members of society
Yes,
outside
sir.
of cyberspace. I have to go sling some drinks. I have to, be productive around the house. Got to put up some shelves. Go to Home Depot, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm not sure enough time. Those who the reference, we'll check along with that. So,
I'll be
Mark
studying to
Ray.
call a game. So
Oh yes,
that's
getting ready
my
to call that game. So for the listeners out there, tell them how they can find you all over the place in cyberspace.
at the Sports Groove. One word, common spelling. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You can find me wherever you want to find me, whatever platform you're on. All right, let's talk about it. And everybody, be safe out there, man. Um,
Hmm.
just be safe
That's true. Be
and go in
safe, be
peace.
careful, keep your head on a swivel. Because if you see something, say something. We don't need it. We don't need any more incidents like we had over the past few
No,
weeks.
no, we don't.
It's been crazy here in the United States, and I am not a fan of what's going on. But in all lightness and all brevity, my name is Charles Younger. You can follow me all over the place in cyberspace. I'm stealing that from Mark at CharlesNynga across all social media platforms. I've given up on MySpace. It's over. That dream is dead. But I'm still working on my. I'm still working
That
on
had
the
to be
on the
devastating for you too.
and I
Devastating.
am slowly quitting Facebook because it's a cesspool. Outside of seeing family pictures, Facebook is awful. But I digress. It's it's on the blue sky for me. Blue
Jesus.
sky,
No.
Threads, IG, TikTok. You know, I want to bring back Vine. I gave up MySpace, but we're gonna bring back Vines. Three,
For the love of
let's bring.
Snapchat, it's time to get
All
out of here, Chuck.
right, Snapchat is modern day Vine. So this for Maryland Live on the Voice of College Football. I'm Charles Young along with Mark Gray. Take care, stay safe, and tune in next week as we do a
Love your brother, man.
pregame show of the Washington matchup. So take care and enjoy your weekend.